Hello everyone, Adrian here, and this video is going to be about, my advice for collecting and especially for new collectors that are out there. And it's gonna be advice. And I think, I may be young, but in my long time collecting and reading comics, I do have some opinions to share and advice I can give. I think it's worthwhile. And before I begin, I think I would be remiss. I don't know if that's the right word or not. My vocabulary kind of sucks these days, but I would be definitely remiss if I didn't mention something about the election. I think as I told a friend, if it wasn't for the fact that school is seriously distracting the hell out of me, and if it wasn't for the fact that the Cubs finally won the World Series, I would be significantly more sad and angry than I am now. So, if it wasn't for those two things. And it's just one of those things where I'm just like, if you could look yourself, if you're children, if you could go back in time, and if you could pretty much, if your 7-year-old self, your 10-year-old self, your 13-year-old self, your high school self, if they could see you now, with the person that you become, and knowing everything that happened in this election, and who you voted for, would they be proud of you? Or would they be proud of the person that they become and the choice that they made? Or would they be angry and just incredibly disappointed? And I'm just going to leave it at that. I think that's something everyone should really think. Not just in terms of the election, but in terms of daily life. That's the way I deal. The way I go about things with my, 10-year-old self, 13, if I did this and if I did that, would they be proud of me? Would that younger version of me actually look up to me and say, yeah, you're a good guy, or would they be incredibly disappointed or horrified? And that's all I'm going to say. Now, on to collecting. So, I've been collecting for about, reading and collecting since 6th grade, 7th grade. I'm in pharmacy school now. That should tell you how long it's been that I've been collecting and doing this stuff. But anyway, I guess one of the first pieces of advice I could give, make sure you're collecting for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure it's because you like and love comics. That you love something about it. Whether you like the writer, you like a character, whether you like the art, the story, something. Make sure that you like and love something about comics. Make sure that's the reason you're collecting. Don't do it for because it's in vogue and it's popular now, and don't do it because I'm gonna make a load of money off this, cha-ching, cha-ching, because I can tell you, talk to people who collected comics in the 90s, they'll tell you some stories about how they thought they were gonna happen, and look how they thought they were gonna get rich making money off these comics, and look what happened. Those things are worth not even worth dollars now, So make sure you're collecting for the right reasons. Make sure you generally love it. I can't remember what Hippie Collectibles says, like what you read and love what you collect, or something like that. Collect what you love and love what you collect. There, that's it. Just make sure that's the reason you're doing it. The second thing I gotta say is, if you're starting out, don't be afraid to look things online and go to comic shops and ask people questions. Don't be afraid to do that. The way I started out when I was doing it is I was super into Spider-Man after the video game came out, and I just looked things online on Wikipedia and wikis and all this stuff. And the more I learned about the character, the more interested I got. In fact, a lot of the times, when a lot of comic books that I've stumbled across have been because I've looked online and oh my god, this story looks interesting, I want to read that. I strongly advise people to actually look things up online, read wikis, read wikis and things that you might be interested in. I gotta tell you, that will help guide you into what you're interested in. That's my second piece of advice. Go on wikis, look at stuff up, ask questions. Don't be scared to do that. The third thing I gotta say is, make sure you know how to store these comics. I swear to God, if I can go back in time and tell my younger self, you're not supposed to store it this way, this is the way it should be done. Oh my God. So a lot of my earlier comics would still be around. I'm just saying right now, make sure you know how to store comics. Look that up. make sure you know how to store them properly, because you don't want to like get like a really great comic that's say $20 or something, I don't know, and then only for it to just be ruined in like months because you didn't know how to store it. Like that's another big piece of advice. I mean, just oh my god, I'm telling you, if I can go back in time, but I cannot stress that enough. The third thing I gotta say is don't when you're collecting comics, don't be complacent. Don't just, you know what I'm saying, be complacent and say, well, gee, I don't know if I'm going to do that, and blah, blah. You know, don't be complacent. Don't just get comics for the sake of getting comics. You know what I'm saying? Don't just like you have a pull list, and don't just continue to get a comic because it's part of your habit and routine. You should constantly, and I mean constantly, evaluate whether or not you're actually getting enjoyment out of the book. Evaluate yourself. Evaluate this comic and this comic and say, am I really enjoying this book? Is it really giving me the entertainment that I want? Am I really strongly enjoying this? And if you're not, then there's no point in reading if you're not getting enjoyment out of it. Don't become complacent. Don't just say like, oh yeah, this is part of my habit. I gotta get this just because it's the character. Just because I love this character. I mean, I understand you like the character, but you're placing loyalty in a fictional character. Just saying, you know? So don't do that. Don't become complacent like that. If you're not enjoying something, drop it. Go to something else. See if there's anything else that interests you. You know, don't get into that little hole. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, for someone like me, I'm in pharmacy school. I'm not like I'm rolling in money here. Well, not until at least 3 years. Well, 2 years when I graduate and get a job. Then I'll be rolling in some money. But, you know, so it counts. It matters. And the other piece of advice I can say, and I cannot stress this enough, control the hobby. Make sure it doesn't control you. That's a big one. I cannot begin to tell you just how many times, I've seen people in real life and people on here that just get comics for the sake of getting comics. They don't even care. You know, I mean, some people don't even care or like the comics. It's like, you know what I mean? I understand this comic costs like 25 cents or 50 cents, but I'm not gonna buy like a stack of this big, a 25-cent comic that I have no interest in. You know, that's an example of like, the hobby controlling you. I mean, don't do that. I mean, you should never, ever put yourself in a position where you can't eat, or you're in debt, or, you know, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's affecting you negatively in your life, or you can't pay bills. You should never do that. Never ever do that. You know what I mean? Don't buy comics for the sake of buying comics. Don't buy, oh, this is 25 cents, but it's, you know, this is 25 cents, and it's Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man meets Hitler, and he go get some tea, whatever. Don't. You know, like for me, I have a keyhole of interest. You know, I just not gonna go willy-nilly and buy comics for the sake of buying them. You know. You know what I mean? And there's actually been people on YouTube that have bought comics because they wanted to show them off to the community. And I'm just like, dude, no, don't do that. You know, you should buy comics because you enjoy them. I mean, don't let it affect you like that. Don't do that. I mean, I cannot stress that enough. Control the hobby. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a hobby. And the last piece of advice I gotta say is, comic books are not life. You should not, you know, unless you really enjoy reading comics and prefer, like, you know, if you're kind of an introvert and don't want to go out or do anything, then, you know, I can understand it, but don't. It's not life. You know, you should go outside and enjoy the outdoors. You know, go out and go on dates, hang out with your friends, talk with people, go for a walk. Comic book should not be your entire life. Just like video games should not be your entire life. Just like watching sports excessively shouldn't be your entire life. There's plenty of other things out there to enjoy. And that's the strongest piece of advice right there too, is it's not life. There are other more important things. People are important. Other things are important, more important than comics. Don't make it your life. And that's really my piece of advice as a younger comic collector. That's my piece of advice for people that are collecting, just started collecting or about to collect. Just remember that. And thanks for watching. Oh, and just some updates, by the way, too. Because I probably haven't done it. I actually did film like one of those short films that I like doing. Because as everyone knows, I tend like to do like short films. Like I did a Christmas special, Hitman Von Doom stuff, and like Star Spider Christmas Carol. And I've done a short film. I've filmed another one, and I have a trailer ready for that too. I don't if that trailer is either gonna go up either sometime this weekend or sometime next week. I'm not sure yet. But but that short film is a game changer. It's pretty much gonna tell everyone what I plan to do with the channel. That short film is a complete game changer. It's gonna tell what I'm planning on doing. So I'm just saying that right now. And anywho, thanks for watching.